Did you know that there was a time in North Carolina when singing off-key in public could actually get you fined or even briefly arrested? It sounds like a comedy skit or an urban legend, but it's a real law that once existed in several towns across the state. The origins of this odd regulation date back to the late 1800s and early 1900s, during a period when U.S. towns were extremely strict about maintaining public order. Back then, most community events happened outdoors: town squares, church gatherings, local fairs, and music was a big part of public life. But not everyone had the gift of a sweet voice or a trained ear for melody. According to old town records and newspapers, some people would purposely sing in a loud, off-key, screeching tone to annoy others, disrupt events, or mock religious hymns being sung in churchyards. These acts weren't considered harmless fun. They were classified as public nuisances, just like shouting obscenities or causing a noisy disturbance in the streets. To keep public gatherings peaceful, several local ordinances were passed under the category of disturbing the peace. In a few small towns in North Carolina, this included a very specific rule. It was illegal to sing badly, loudly, and intentionally out of tune in public spaces. The law wasn't meant to target people with naturally poor singing skills. It was aimed at pranksters and troublemakers who used loud, off-key singing to disrupt public order. One historical account mentions that a group of young men in the early 1900s would follow brass bands and choirs, deliberately singing horribly behind them to ruin the performance and provoke fights. After repeated incidents, local councils created ordinances making deliberately off-key singing a finable offense. While the law sounds absurd today, it reflects a time when maintaining public harmony and decorum was taken very seriously, even to the point of regulating how you could sing in public. Though this law was never widely enforced across the entire state, there are quirky stories from old North Carolina newspapers about people getting in trouble for off-key singing. One account from 1907 mentions a man fined $10, a big sum back then, for repeatedly bellowing off-tune songs during a town festival, refusing to stop even after multiple warnings. Another story from the 1920s tells of a young man briefly jailed after standing outside a church and loudly singing out of tune, drowning out the choir inside. These weren't isolated incidents. Town records show that this rule was occasionally invoked whenever someone's singing turned into a deliberate public disturbance. While it's unclear exactly when these laws faded into obscurity, they were never officially repealed in some local ordinances. Today, they're technically still on the books in a few towns, but nobody enforces them anymore. At worst, a modern-day version of this law would likely fall under generic disturbing the peace or public nuisance statutes. The funny part is that this outdated law has survived in legal archives, making it one of the strangest examples of old American behavior laws. It reminds us how different life was over a century ago, when public spaces were the center of community life and civility, quiet, and harmony were legally protected values. In those days, it wasn't just about fighting crime. It was about preventing anything that disrupted the social atmosphere, even if that meant punishing someone for their terrible singing voice. Today, it's more of a humorous historical footnote, a weird fact to make people laugh, but it also shows how laws are products of their time, created to solve very specific problems that, decades later, seem absurd to us. So next time you're walking through North Carolina and feel like singing out loud, you're safe. Just maybe stay in key. You never know which old laws are still lurking in the town's rule books. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to discover more weird, crazy, and forgotten laws from around the world, make sure to visit our channel and check out our other videos. We're bringing you more strange laws and unbelievable history facts very soon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our next video. See you in the next one.